Okay, so let's talk about sharpeners and sharpening. Uh, I have two sharpeners I use all the time. This is a diamond stone from Smith's since 1886, it says. Oh. But this thing pulls out of there. Sorry, that went fast. And you can turn it around and use it as a handle. I got this at Lowe's like a billion years ago. And you'll notice the kind of diamond sharpener it is. These diamond stones are steel plates on plastic backing that have been coated in, what do they call those things? They're diamonds for like tool use. I forget, there's a name for it. But anyway, they're diamond coated steel plates, and you can just use it to sharpen shit. The smaller version I have are these little things, which are from DMT, which this one, the red one, I got in high school, and it still works. It says Craftsman on it because it's from fucking Sears. There you go. Craftsman. The blue one I bought in college when I found it, and it's a coarse, and it's just from DMT. I don't think you can get them at Sears anymore, but that's where I got my first one. I like these as like a thing to put in like a knife sheath, because you have two of them here together that are very small that don't even equal the size of one normal stone, really. And I have them looped together on a piece of paracord. This thing I tend to like have as a home base sharpener, but you can bring it along too. The nice thing about it being, a store inside of its own handle kind of job is it makes it pretty easy to bring with you. As far as sharpening goes, the way that I sharpen a knife is like this. Okay? On both sides. I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing here, so I'm probably fucking this up and I'll have to fix it later, but you get the idea. When it comes time for your final edge, I usually take the stone like this and take swipes, like I'm sure you people have been taught to do. The circular motion shit allows you to do most of the grinding in a much more stable way than doing those swipes. Swiping like that is like honing. Okay, if you really need to move some material, that's where you do the circles. I tend to circle everything first, and then when you're doing this like cutting into the stone shit, that's like stropping. It's removing such little material, and it's right from the edge that it's stropping. I hope this helps somebody. That's all there really is to sharpening, other than you can get a leather strop, which is a piece of leather impregnated with compound usually. My strop is in my garage because it's attached to a belt grinder. I tend to like a power strop because the power strop does a better job. However, for most social purposes, the fine DMT stone, they make an ultra fine as well. One of the two of those is probably sharp enough for you. Just is. Now, you should be careful sharpening with diamond stones because you can fuck up knives, especially doing the shit that I'm showing you to do here. But the place that I learned how to sharpen in this circular bullshit was in old books, if I remember right. It was an SAS survival guide taught me to sharpen that way. And if you go look at like World War II knives at all, it's very clear that people in World War II sharpened their knives the way that I do. I think that's pretty cool. And like the Lansky puck sharpener only makes sense if you use it in a circular motion. Go look up what that is. That's a lot of people's like go-to standard for sharpening, and it is made to do this circular motion bullshit. In fact, it's very hard to do the stropping shit with it, which is why I tend to prefer one of these diamond stones. Not to mention if you run into something like D2, which I bought in Ontario in D2 because they're going out of business. I don't know if they're still gonna sell these or not, because these are actually made in Taiwan, but I've been wanting one of these, so I got one. It's a Rat 1, but it's in D2, and D2 is one of the steels that, like, it really takes diamonds to sharpen it, in my opinion. There's a few others too. I've run into some steels from Ontario in particular that were just $10.95 that it took crazy stones to sharpen because it was on some like aircrew pilot survival knife that they hardened the shit out of. This is less than 20 bucks. These are about 30 together, so you have to buy 2 of them. You might be able to buy them in a pack or something like that. They make 4 grades of these. These are the middle 2. I don't have the ultra fine or the ultra coarse. Anyway, I hope this helps you backwoods. This is how I sharpen. Also add that when you make knives, you sharpen on a belt grinder down to a point usually. And then I have a giant aluminum oxide stone that I usually use to hand finish it off with. So if you're going to be making a knife, you might get a giant aluminum oxide stone too. Just like, for anything it will sharpen, it will sharpen on aluminum oxide, you know. And it gives you a, you know, the advantage of the big aluminum oxide stone is that you can really bear down and remove material and shit. It's like turning on the turbo or something while sharpening. But that's not what most of y'all need. That's like, you know, touching one of those aluminum oxide stones to your knives. That's how you really fuck them up, in my opinion. Basically, the only thing I'd ever use that for is for putting an initial edge on a blade that I made, or taking out giant divots or something that something caused. Like, oh shit, we tried to cut a wire and it fucking rolled the edge on this fucker so bad that the only way to do it is to sharpen it out. You know, I might pull out aluminum oxide for that. Aluminum oxide, for those not in the know, is what sanding belts are made out of. So it's like a giant block of the shit that's on the belt sander. Ceramic rods and sharpening steels are good for touch-up stuff too. Backwoods said he uses a steel. That was actually my favorite way to sharpen a knife back in the day, because I didn't really know how to use shit like this and was afraid of messing stuff up. And like, one of the things that you're gonna have to get is like, it doesn't matter. This thing is convex, and if you take a look at the edge on it, come on, it has a pretty long area where I've been grinding on it with diamond stones. That's the nature of sharpening convex. It's like a more a knife. Scandi grind, it's the same way. You have to go higher up on the blade. Anyway, diamond stones, people. Miracle of the future.